Good morning and welcome to a brand new edition of Breakfast Central. It's a Tuesday morning. We're excited. At least it's not rainy. IMET did predict 3 days of rainfall. Yesterday was day 1. Thankfully, day 2 hasn't begun yet. Who knows what the rest of the week will look like. But for us here in the next 3 hours, we're exploring some of the biggest political stories that have happened over the past 24 hours, as well as stories we've continued to track over the past few weeks. Remember that we're streaming live on YouTube. News Central TV is the platform, and you can drop your comments in the chat box. My name is Olive Emodi, and you're welcome to the show.
And I'm Olive's co-host, Gbenga and Olive. Olive has said it all. There's no need to add or deduct anything from what she said. She's a very honest person, and when she speaks the truth. So we're trying to make the best use of the 3 hours we have. So I'm not going to tell you what to expect and what we do on the show. She's already hit the ground
running.
Yeah, so welcome to Breakfast Central.
Guess who else has hit the ground running?
Who?
The governor of River State. It's been quite the time for...
Okay, yes.
It took you a moment to actually think, I'm like, wait, what's going on there?
Exactly.
The governor of River State has hit the ground running because, of course, the suspension was lifted after 6 months. He was meant to resume at his office. Troops gathered en masse to welcome him, to give him the triumphant entry into the government house. Yes. Unfortunately, he was nowhere to be found. Eventually, he's resumed office, and yesterday, reports had it that he was in a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu, and that the meeting lasted for about 2 hours.
2 hours? That's a long time.
That he went to collect fatherly advice.
And he spoke to pressmen afterwards. He said, you know, the president, being a former governor, two-term governor of Lagos State, advised him on how to govern River State.
You understand?
Yes.
Anyway, let's take a look at the video of the governor speaking to pressmen after his 2-hour meeting with President Bola Tinubu.
You are aware that the suspension was lifted on the 17th, midnight 17th, and I came in on the 19th. Ideally, it's proper for me to see Mr. President to tell him that I'm back and I've also resumed my responsibility as the governor of River State. It's not much, it's father-son discussion, telling him thank you and the areas where, if at all, there should be any issue, for him to guide me properly so we don't be in any situation that will bring crisis again. That's all. So long as I'm concerned, we have made peace. My Fubara and his principal are working together.
And that is the video of Governor Alex Fubara after having met with President Bola Tinubu. And of course, they have reactions to that. The first thought is people starting to imagine, which again was the crux of the conversation when we heard about President, why do I keep calling President? Governor Fubara being reinstated. Many wondered about the possibility of him being the possibility of him being able to run affairs in River State without any external influence, and that was a key cause for concern by citizens, not just of the state, but, citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They wondered if he'll be able to run his affairs without any form of interruption or any form of external influence.
Yes.
And one of the key parties would be the former governor of River State, Mr. Wiki. And recently he had said, of course, there's peace, he will stay clear of River State's business. But this was the same thing he said. If you remember, before Governor Fubara got into office, they had asked him, and he said, he has nothing to do with, he would not be influencing government. But before we could say Jack Robinson, he then started to complain about the interruption of the structure.
The state of emergency was declared, it became a national issue, and seeing the hula balu, all this drama and episode has caused, knowing that there will be more eyeballs, I believe all parties will be more circumspect in the way they carry out their affairs. And what is most important is the life of the indigents, the people of River State. They should be positively affected by governance and not distracted by politics between political gladiators and individuals. That's what they voted this elected officers into power for, not for drama and political infighting. So hopefully this would be the beginning and the last time we would hear of political squabbles in Rivers State.
Well, so maybe this is what they will call the non-kinetic approach.
Yes, this is non-kinetic. They've tried the kinetic basketballs.
It didn't work.
It didn't work, exactly.
They don't have to apply.
Let them try peace and diplomacy this time around.
Okay, of course, Nigerians will certainly be speaking about this.
They always have opinions.
They always have opinions about this, and they don't hold back when it comes to sharing their opinions. I haven't seen the tweets, but I certainly believe there will be a number of tweets reflecting trust issues. Let's see if I'm correct, and share what Nigerians are saying on X. If our producers may please, okay, of course, we'll come back to share that much later, yes. But let's move on to our next story.
This is a very interesting story. I mean, ICAN is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. They write exams for chartered accountants, professional exams. And it was alleged that a proxy for the Taraba State Commissioner of Finance was caught writing the exams. But let's take a look at this publication, this press release from ICAN. ICAN reiterates zero tolerance for examination malpractice. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, has noted a video circulating in social media alleging impersonation during one of its examinations. As the foremost professional accountancy body in Nigeria, ICAN wishes to state unequivocally that it maintains a strict zero tolerance policy for all forms of examination malpractice, including impersonation. The Institute's examination processes are guided by globally accepted standards of integrity, and any attempt to compromise them is treated with utmost seriousness. In line with this commitment, ICAN has commenced a thorough investigation into the matter. Appropriate disciplinary measures will apply in accordance with established regulations, and the findings will be communicated transparently to stakeholders. The Institute therefore urges the public to refrain from speculation or drawing conclusions based on unverified claims. ICAN remains firmly committed to safeguarding the credibility of its examination and protecting the reputation of the accounting professional in Nigeria and beyond. Larry Olasukumi, PhD. But let's take a look at that at the video, and then we'll come back for reactions.
Why are you here? Can you please speak up? I need you to. Sarah. Yeah, mention it louder because okay. You are writing for Sarah Adi, right? Okay. So who is she? She's not a member. She's an ICAN student.
And please, you've not answered the other question. Who is this? Sent you to write these exams? Who directed you? The owner of this something? What did you say is the name? Sarah Adi.
Sarah.
So who is the Sarah?
Adi.
Okay, writing for Sarah Adi.
She has mentioned it, that okay, she's writing for Sarah Adi.
Who is the person? Where does the person work?
Where does the person work?
We need the identity of the person.
But you told me earlier when we were talking, you said you work, I was trying to confirm your information. You said you work in Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance. So most likely you mentioned that the person's office. Am I correct? So who now works at Ministry of Finance?
So who was it you linked to the Ministry of Finance?
Do you know that what you're telling me is not true? Because what you told me, I confirmed. When she mentioned it, I checked on her CRM from office, and I confirmed the address to be the address of the person who sent her.
Okay.
Because I saw when she mentioned it, I confirmed. Okay. Why are you here?
I'm here to write an ICAN exam.
For who?
For Mr. Martins Emmanuel.
Martins Emmanuel?
Yes.
Okay, where do you reside?
I reside opposite Catholic Cathedral, my 6.
Okay, my 6. Yes. Okay. What's your phone number? Can you mention your phone number?
070
okay.
6243
okay.
9681.
Okay.
Do you know that it's a criminal offense to write exams for somebody? Are you aware of that?
I am aware.
You know it's a criminal offense to write exams for somebody?
There we have it, videos of people who were said to be impersonating others at the exam, and it raises several issues. One, how did they get to the point where they were able to write the exam. It exposes a fraud or a weak verification system.
Absolutely.
2, it shows again our moral compass as a society is broken, where people can feel comfortable to sit at home and pay somebody else to write exams for them. ICAN isn't the only exam that used to do this. Back in the day, we've had people who used to impersonate back then with WAEC, with JAMB, and all these other exams.
Moved a notch higher to professional
Exactly.
exam.
Now they've moved it a notch higher. There are things like yellow paper where you would hear that WAEC is about to be written, and people will get an expo and they will sell it. People will buy it. Parents then would even pay for special centers for their children to write exams, which again is a way
really
of showing that you are encouraging your children to be fraudulent. This, if properly investigated, is a crime and should be prosecuted, and they should be made to have their day in court.
Impersonation.
And then I think the final thing I wanted to say is our society's overemphasis on qualifications
and certificates.
and certifications sometimes we push people to the extreme. I think that I'm hoping that we get to the time where we start to explore more. Not everybody will get a professional certification. Some people's way of making a path for themselves will be through handwork. It would be through other forms of education. It doesn't have to be ICAN or any of these professional courses.
Though, because the modern day employer is looking at analytical skills. It's not just.
You think people that are still asking for 25 years with 7 years experience?
Yeah, it has a. There's some that need that, but the modern day employee is looking at analytical and problem-solving skills, regardless of what certificate. It's your ability to deliver on the job that it's the focus. Yeah.
All right, and also just to mention that it will be imperative for proper investigation to be carried out, because if we find that this is not an isolated case, it might reveal, and obviously that there is a gang or a cartel of people who are doing this, not just in that state, but in multiple states, because if they can cheat in one spot, the chances that they can cheat and they can find the weaknesses and the loopholes in all the other centers and make it into a thriving business is very high. But now let's see what Nigerians are saying about this unfortunate discovery. Madu Abuchi, OON, says, this is a normal thing in Taraba. I have several people that I know that write their ICAN in Jalingo because they bring people from other states to write for them, according to Madu Abuchi. Interesting. And that canon says, the funny thing now is the writer will face punishment, but the person she's writing for will probably still keep her job and even move on to bigger things. And I completely disagree with this. I think that is important that whoever is the writer of that exam should face the exact penalty that the person they are writing for should face, because they are both complicit in the crime. Now let's move away from that tweet to the next tweet. Sylvester Alelele says, is this not fraudulent or intent to deceive? Of course it is, absolutely. If you do not have the lever to sit for the ICAN, must you have an ICAN qualification? I don't get why she had to do this. Me neither, Sylvester. Let's see other tweets. The next tweet is from Global South Queen, and she says, can those saying Nigeria stop it and call the name of the people in question? When are we going to stop attaching the name of our country to crimes of individuals? It's nauseating, Haba. Let's pause on this tweet for a bit. Unfortunately, I really wish that people who made poor choices such as this realize that they are reflective of the broader spectrum of society. And it will be almost impossible to completely alienate the action from the person and completely alienate the person from the country. And bad news flies fast. So it's why when you hear people who have been arrested at the airport for carrying drugs, you hear 2 Nigerian this or 3, because, or abroad, exactly. It's almost impossible to, divorce the crime from the country. So when we're taking decisions, I hope that we can realize that actions have consequences and we can make better choices.
I was going to ask you the position of the law when it comes to impersonation. Who will bear the brunt?
Both of them will. Because
the writer and the writee.
Yes, the writer and the writee. There was a fraudulent intent to deceive. And just so we are clear, if you can get someone to write an exam for you.
You are criminal-minded.
You are not, you and Yahoo person, there's no difference. People are the same. You are both fraudsters, you are fraudulent, and there's no difference.
And someone tweeted and said, is it by force to have ICAN qualification? Yeah.
It's not really that
and then when you get professional qualification, what do you do when you don't even understand the basics? You can't even write the exams yourself. It's going to show, your incompetence is going to show down the line. someday. Maybe they should change it. The name of the exam is called ICAN. So
ICANs.
many of them feel they can by any means necessary.
I hate they were thinking alike because I was thinking the same thing, that they should change it from ICAN to ICANT. But that's
I
much
will.
later.
I shall.
But yes, there'll be further investigation carried out in that story, and when we get updates, we'll be bringing that to you as well. Our final story, no, not our final, second to the last, because we must talk about Ballon. Ogun State residents have mocked the fire service for a delay at the fire scene. You could see a video where there was a fire outbreak. We're not quite sure what the cause of the fire was, but the vehicle was caught up in flames, and the fire service came at the very end,
the tail end,
when the fire had almost gotten them down, when the car was almost burnt beyond recognition. Then we saw the fire country. You can see the tweet, the fire truck arrived. The tweet or the video with the caption, and it says, "Omo, after car go finish, when I come, they come. Nigeria is my country." And there you see the video. Well, anyway, this unfortunately...
I think we should listen to
okay,
the
let's see what
audio
they
of
say.
the video.
After the mother is joker. Any show I see. Evan below.
And there you have it. Of course, we can see that the fire service arrived pretty late, and the car had burnt down. Again, we've been talking about fire a lot. Just yesterday, we had someone who lost everything at the fires that happened in Marina, Lagos Island. And part of the conversations that sparked would be the response of the fire service, but also how very well aware we are as Nigerians to combat fire, sort of a first aid to a fire outbreak. We understand that there are people who are trained to deal with fires, but when you're in an impossible situation,
the basics.
Are you able to help?
Can you operate a fire extinguisher?
Exactly.
What do you need to get to put out a fire?
And I think that this is something, there's certain basic things that we need to be taught, certain life-saving skills.
In our consciousness from
a very young age. So it's not really, it's not been our culture to learn certain safety survival skills, things like performing CPR, because the difference between life and death, sometimes someone who's on standby to perform CPR for the few minutes until the ambulance arrives. It's the same thing with a fire. Right? The fire has a life of its own, and it travels really fast. So being able to have the fire extinguisher and put out the fire at the point where the initial spark has occurred. You know, certain little things, like even in kitchen accidents, I've had one myself. I was trying to bleach oil, and the thing caught fire.
What do you mean by bleach oil?
Palm oil.
Okay.
So you want to sort of bleach it in a way that the color becomes...
Like they're trying to buy oil. Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I was trying to bleach oil. I was going to use it for, I think it was agoin sauce. No, I can't remember what it was, but I was bleaching the oil.
And the fire came on to the pan.
No. Yeah, the fire came in through the pot. Thankfully, I had seen it happen before, and I knew that the first thing I was meant to do was immediately to cover it.
With?
The pot, the cover of the pot. So that leaves...
Because you deprive it of oxygen.
Of oxygen, exactly.
You're wise.
Thank you. In another situation, someone who doesn't know about that will pick up the pan and maybe throw water into it.
Yes.
And cause an actual mess.
The fire will then be escalated.
Exactly. So we need, Gbenga, please. We need to ensure that we not just prioritize ensuring that we equip our fire services. We need more fire ambulances around the country.
Those guys laughing at, I mean, sometimes these things could be comical, but I don't think the men of the Ogun State Fire Service deserve any sort of ridicule. Their response time was fair enough. And do you know how fast it takes? I
was going to say that. It may have been fast.
And then you're laughing at them that, they came after the fire incident happened. And their presence is important in case the fire spreads to other parts of that vicinity. Because, I mean, it's an open place. This sort of things can happen. So I don't know if their laughter and their mockery was justified.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, we hope that those who had the person who lost their car, because that's another thing. Like, we're talking about the fire, but we haven't talked about the fact that someone has lost their vehicle. We don't realize what the implication of that might have been for that person. Maybe their only car, and even if it wasn't, they did lose something there. It also might be a source of income. It might be that they use that car as a transport to earn to take care of their families. I hope that the person who was there, or persons who were there, did not experience any dire sort of hurt to themselves, any bodily harm, and that they find the fortitude to bear the loss of the car, because it is a loss, and it's a loss that would hurt and that would pinch. But let's see what Nigerians are saying on X about this, and then we'll move to our final story. When FRC Nigeria advocates for proper equipment in your cars, they say they own too much. Just listen to how the public are reacting to the emergency response, even though that's not their primary responsibility. We're not ready for what's coming as a people. Taking responsibility for our actions and inactions will go a long way, Akom's copy says. Although most services in Nigeria are unreliable, you should understand that firemen couldn't have reached the scene within minutes of being called. It's not logical. A vehicle becomes unsalvageable in fire accidents within 10 minutes.
Very true. Harry Small says even the time it took that guy to unroll the hose is enough for a car to burn from beginning to the end. Shame just the catch me alive. Harry, you're a man, you can enroll in the Nigeria Fire Service and, help them do better. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Truth Heart says, nice one, at least there's a fire truck. What is the problem? It's just the response time. In America, the average response time is 10 minutes. We are getting there.
Well, our favor line doctor says this is what happens when there is no system in place to audit institutions to ensure accountability and punish incompetence. Normally, in a serious country, they should have a weekly, monthly log of how many call-outs they get, what's their response time, what are the outcomes. Things like this ensure that incompetence is punished, accountability is demanded, and excellence is rewarded. These are the things that are absent in our national culture. But look at this story now. The fire service people will casually go back to their office and nobody will be punished for the incompetence that has caused that car to be completely burnt down before any meaningful response. It is well. May God bless Nigeria. Amen. These are the tweets of what Nigerians are saying on X about the unfortunate incident of the car being burnt down. And like we said, we need to equip our fire service. We need to ensure that they have what they need to do their jobs. And there's a lot of logistics that goes into putting out a fire. It's FRC also being able, and LASMA also being able to work, and this is not in Lagos State, but I'm saying if we were in Lagos State, for example, the traffic management authorities also need to be able to work with the fire service, because it will take them a while to get from their station to where the fire has happened.
Yeah, so
and you need to be able to clear the roads for them.
Investment in the welfare of the men and personnel of the Nigeria Fire Service, firefighters, they're human beings too. Their hazard allowance, I believe it needs to be reviewed and looked into. It's also proper firefighting gear and equipment so they can be more effective and do their jobs as required. So that's it. But I believe a number of those tweets were unjustifiably harsh. They got there, and one of the tweets rightly said that you look at the response time and the time it takes for a car to be salvageable is 10 minutes. For them to get there and still see the car burning, I feel it's quite a fair response time.
Very, very. Yeah. And I mean, we don't know the full picture, but like we said, there are many things to look at, and we've just been able to analyze it on the surface. And our next story is something that happened last night. It was shown live across the world. The Ballon d'Or held, and there were winners. Now, the Ballon d'Or has held since 1956. It is organized by France Football Magazine, and it's one of the most prestigious awards in football. I mean, not just winning, even just being nominated cements your place in history. We've had the likes of Lionel Messi with about 8 wins and Cristiano Ronaldo with about 5 wins. And this year, we can see our winners. Look at the nominees for 2025. Ousmane Dembélé of PSG became the Ballon d'Or men's winner for 2025. He's a Ballon d'Or 2025 winner, and it was quite an emotional
no
moment.
Nigeria made it this year, but Ousmane was on the list, on the short list last year.
Yes, and I had seen different reactions. There were those who wondered that it's interesting that he got it before Kylian Mbappe. They were surprised that, but unfortunately, I mean, the past season, the way it's been for Kylian Mbappe has been very, very interesting as well. Beyond,
so Mbappe has never won the Ballon d'Or.
That I'm not sure of. Yes, no, he hasn't. This is his first time. And interestingly, it's not just his first time of winning the Ballon d'Or. It was also PSG's first time of winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
And when you're counting the points, even winning the Champions League is a huge leap, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's like a double win
Maybe
for
that
him.
was the decider.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But you, on the other hand, you wanted someone else to win.
Yes, I wanted Lamine Yamal to win.
Lamine Yamal is a young teenager that has a long life ahead of him.
Yeah, but I mean, Michael Owen scored, he peaked at 18, or he was a football genius at 18, even Messi when he was 18, 19. So age doesn't come in, it's not a factor on the field.
No, it's
you
not.
still score goals, you can still be very effective, but it's done very well. He's definitely a future Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah, he did really well. I mean, the moment when they were announced, you could see the tense look between Dembélé and Yamal, and there was a lot of tension. And when Dembélé was called up as the winner, it was an emotional moment. His speech was so emotional. He gave a lot of credit to his mother, who was in the hall with him. He was crying as he was speaking about her. There was someone in the audience as well who was weeping. He's not just crying. I believe that may be his agent. I'm not quite sure, but there was a lot. It was such an emotional, intense moment for him. But definitely there's been a lot of support for Dembélé. The past season has been great for him. And of course, there are more wins ahead for him. But Dembélé isn't the only one that has won. Aitana Bonmatif has won her third consecutive Ballon d'Or for women. And, you know, it's great because you see her win and you see the fact that not only has she done this once or twice, she's doing this the third time, 3 times a charm. And there's been a lot for her. When you look at her journey, you can see the consistency with which she's played. I mean, she's consistent in winning. There was a year where she had, you know, viral meningitis, I believe, acute meningitis, but she still showed up. I mean, she's shown up. She does the job that she needs to do.
Athlete,
so she's had a lot of things that should hold her down in terms of health challenges, but you could see her still being able to deliver her polling units, like we say here in Nigeria.
She has a can-do spirit.
She does have a can-do spirit. So congratulations to her. And congratulations to him as well, to Dembélé and to Bonmatif. And we just look
and all
forward
the
to
winners.
And all the winners, really. To be honest, being nominated, it's an honor. You know, people typically don't like awards because they worry about the pressure, the external pressure that it brings. But I do say that knowing that you're good enough and being secure in yourself is great. But awards do
and this
come
is
as
you speaking from the perspective of a multiple award winner in different categories.
Thank you so much, my friend.
You don't need to be so humble. Accept it. You're a born winner.
Thank you. And so are you too.
Amen.
A born winner.
Yes.
But, you know, these awards are not a determinant of your worth, but they're definitely certainly a pat on the back, a pat on the back.
An acknowledgement of
the hard work that you're doing. And going forward, I mean, these are names that have been written in the annals of history. You will never forget these names in football history. So congratulations to the winners and to Arsenal.
And talking about awards, I was just wondering if those statues that former governor of Imo State, if they're still there. Because, I mean, it's a tourist attraction. If you go to Owerri, I would like to, when I visit Owerri, like to see them. Tribute to African leaders back then. I hope they're well maintained and kept so that, you know, recorded history. Yeah.
All right. We look forward to seeing all of that happening. I mean, I remember when Rocha Okorocha was building those statues, people found it wait, I'm also trying to find out if you're being sarcastic, because I think that there's an element of sarcasm.
I'm very serious.
Very serious.
But yes, let's quickly go to the next wake-up conversation. Governor Otti's visit to ABSU, I believe. A while ago, we brought you this report of the dilapidated state of university dormitory, the male hostel in ABSU. It wasn't fit for habitation. It was terrible. And right now, in less than 3 months, the governor, when the governor visited, he saw the state of the hostels and he said, look, how is this place even suitable for human habitation? And he promised to do something about it. And time has passed, about 3 months, and the governor has actually done something about it. But we'll let this video tell the story for you.
Well, but before then, there's also something that he said, and I think that doing that has exemplified what he means when he says that service to citizens must precede tax demands, especially because in 2025, everyone is counting down, maybe not excitedly, to January 2026 when the new tax regime will kick off. And part of the reasons why a number of Nigerians have expressed great dissatisfaction to the idea of tax, when they hear tax, there's a bit of a flinch, is because Nigerians have felt like service hasn't been great. You're asking me to pay when you haven't given me something in return.
With what we've given you in the first place?
Absolutely.
What examples have you shown?
Absolutely. And Governor Alex Otti believes that service to citizens must precede tax demands. And I completely agree with him, because when you do what you're meant to do as a government, you wouldn't need to beg people to pay their taxes, because they can see where their tax is doing, they can see where the money is going, and they trust that you'll be able to judiciously manage what's been given to you. When we talk about the policies that current administration have made, a number of us agreed that from the jump, a number of these policies may not have been bad policies in themselves. However, maybe the execution of those policies, but even more importantly, the extravagance of Nigerian politicians that is not reflective of the ask that they're making to the Nigerian
items
citizens.
there in the budget.
Exactly. So you see that there's an ostentatious lifestyle, a certain extravagance. You can't be telling me to cut my coat according to my size.
When you're not cutting
or according to my cloth, and you're not cutting anything, you're living in largesse. So it's a bit of a weird situation. But let's take a look at this video, and we'll come back to share our thoughts and then share what Nigerians are saying.
We are not where we want to be, but our target for 2024 was 32 billion. And we surpassed it by 7 billion. That is in spite of the tax holidays that we had given some people and our non-aggressive stance in terms of internally generated revenue. And this is simply because of my strong belief in my position that taxation and revenue generation is government's share of the prosperity it has created amongst the populace. So we believe that the government needs to give first before asking.
I absolutely agree with Governor Otti. The government needs to do first before asking. I mean, and the way he speaks, you know, he's very humane and he understands the temperament and the mindset. There's an empathetic governor. So, I mean, you can't just go around milking people and telling them to do this. We understand it's part of our civic responsibility. It's part of the law. You need to pay your taxes. But the government also needs to step up in terms of service delivery and show the people, show them their work, what your taxpayers' money is doing. Lagos State does that. They have certain billboards in different parts, and they said, you know, paid for by taxpayers or your tax money at work, things like that.
Which is why when you see the Nigerians criticize certain things like a lavish entourage traveling, they would always say, is this what you're doing with taxpayers' money? Is this what you're doing with taxpayers' money? Because we cannot underestimate the importance of paying tax. But first, to put the horse before the cart, the government has to show something, show what it has done. To whom much is given, much is expected. So if you're not faithful in little, you cannot be faithful in much.
You've said it all. But still on Abia State, I did tell you about a story of the hostel, but let's take a look at the video and then we'll be back for analysis.
See things for myself. Yes, As I know, I should take you by surprise, take the management of the and leadership of the university by surprise. So I'm happy to see you, but I'm very unhappy. Very, very unhappy.
The buildings look strong. So maybe innovation.
But there may be structural issues. Do something that fits into the new what we're trying. We can just temporarily fix it somewhere so that they cannot relocate and then just get it down. You know the new water. The conditions under which you live cannot make for any academic work. So for those of you who do well in spite of these conditions, we must congratulate you. I have given a mandate that your hostels would have to be fixed. You need to locate a place. So I don't want to do anything twice. So if you want to do the faculty of agriculture, it should be done once. They are giving you people how many months are you?
We should be ready by July.
Are you able to do that? Are you sure?
Yes.
We are building a 5,000 capacity new hostel. While that is going on, we must find and organize.
Here's the dilapidated state of school before, and you can see the top photo, and that was the video we played earlier when Governor Alex Otti visited the university, and now you can see the photo below, and I think that this is worthy of commendation, worthy of applause, not just because they did it, but also the speed with which they did this.
The quality, and the promise kept, yes.
Yes, it was a promise made and a promise kept. The rooms before were looking like, I mean, they didn't look like rooms that deserved, that any human being deserved to live in them. Look at how terrible the state was at the top, and look at the bottom. So before and after, again, kudos to Governor Alex Otti. We say it all the time, that Nigerians are not blind and Nigerians are not stupid. As a government, when you're working, you will not need to talk too much. You won't need to do a lot of campaigning. Your work, the fact should speak for itself. Rep ipsa loquitur. I've taught you another Latin maxim.
The law.
Yes. The fact speaks for itself. Look at it. Pictures tell 1,000 words. So well done, and kudos to Governor Alex Otti.
This is very impressive. There's a reason why universities are called the Ivory Tower. It's the excellence. It's the citadel of learning. It's the pinnacle of human, of academic excellence. And university environment is the last bastion of sanity in society. That's why they tell you don't cross lawns, people act in certain ways. That's where you find scientists, innovators,